Good evening. We do have a member of the Minister Alliance with us this evening. Pastor Pete, would you come forward?
Okay. Father, we want to thank you for the night and even the opportunity to come here and pray. You have taught us in your word that we are to pray for our leaders, and that's what we want to do right now. Pray that you will guide not only, this board here that's before me, but these who are even on the side and in our town. And we just appreciate each and every one of them. We know that's a high calling and a great responsibility, and they need your wisdom in the decisions they make. And we do pray you'll give them that wisdom. And we do ask a special blessing on our town here, and also protection. And even now, as I go through these things here, they will, be deciding and discussed tonight. Just guide it, and ask it in your name, Jesus. Amen.
Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I call the December 5th, 2022 Board of Alderman meeting to order. City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Jeremy Taylor.
Here.
Rachel Kilmer.
Here.
Kelly Netto.
Here.
Jim Shrout.
Here.
Tracy Newcomer.
Here.
Pam Pope.
Here.
And Mayor Dana Webb.
Here. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is new business deletions or continuances. We do not have any of those this evening, so we will move on to the next item, which is public comments. Citizens can make public comments for up to 2 minutes at a time, and we do have one this evening. We have Jamie, is it Wagaman?
It's Wagaman.
Wagaman, I'm sorry, excuse me. Please come forward to the microphone, state your name and address, and then please share.
Jamie Wagaman, 402 Southwest 5th Street. Did I go on?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just here about the speeding and reckless driving on 5th Street. It's gone on far too long, and it just gets worse and worse. So is there something we can do to, I know we can't put speed bumps on 5th Street, but I don't know, something.
Yeah, for a while there was what's the thing called, Chief, that the speed thing set there, and then I saw we had Tom, I think, put the flasher or whatever on the actual speed limit sign.
Can we have that more often? Can we, I know our cops are, stretched. I know that. But is there something more we can do? It's just, we have people race down the street.
Mm-hmm. We hear your concerns, and we're all aware of it, and I've actually even seen it. So Chief's here tonight. He heard that. We don't make any action on public comments. We just take it into consideration.
Okay.
And so staff will look into it further, and Chief and Matt and the other staff will talk about it, and then, yeah.
All right.
Am I
Thank
allowed
you.
to ask a question here?
You can, yes.
So those things when you put up the sign where it tracks their speed, is there data that shows how effective those are?
Yes.
And they are effective.
Most of the data that we gather from the speed devices gives us the time of day. It also gives us the range of highs and lows. But the time of day is important because I don't want to waste resources out there at 8 in the morning if all the kids are already in school and all the bus drivers. But I also know too, from even working that stretch of street myself, there's an industrial complex just west, and even them coming back to lunch. And so when I put out the advisory today to the troops, I gave them the times that we saw in the last, or that we recognized in the last speed study, because it's, this is not a negative comment, but it's one of those things that we'll work it, we'll slow it down, but then when we take resources to other areas, it's gonna come right back. And so we have to get to a maintenance routine of being there on a regular basis. But as we shift to 5th Street, 12th Street will then start it. So it's a compromise. We have to try to work it when we can and slow it down.
So the actual, when it has the numbers and it's tracking your speed when you go by, that's the purpose of that is to collect data on when the speed is high and
Well,
when
it's
it's
to get
not.
them to slow down, because it's the flashing lights that says you're doing, even 32 and 25.
And do we have like a limited number of those that,
Yes.
okay, and that's the problem. We can't just leave them out there permanently because they're needed elsewhere.
Plus, they're battery operated, so they only have a shelf life of so long being.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Jamie, thank you. During informational reports, staff can talk about it, board can talk about it more. They can make a motion, they can direct city another time. But thank you for coming tonight, we appreciate it. You're welcome to stay, or you can leave at any time, so. Yeah, most people do leave, so don't feel odd. Thank-
Mayor?
Yes.
I also like to add, too, we have two different types of devices. So one is a small device, more discreet, to allow us to collect the data of how traffic is actually occurring. And then the one that's more obvious is the one that says, thank you for maintaining the speed limit or slow down. That's more for informational purposes, to remind folks what the speed limit is. So we have two different devices. One is more discreet, not as noticeable, and attempts to collect the actual data that's happening. And the other one is more of an informational. So just so we have two different sets of devices that we implore for different reasons.
Perfect, thank you. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. These items are considered on the consent agenda so that members of the Board of Aldermen, by unanimous consent, can designate routine items to be approved by one motion. Tonight, we have approval of the November 21st, 2022 Board of Aldermen meeting minutes and expenditures through November 30th, 2022.
I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is unfinished business, and we have discussion, consideration, and possible action for Bill Number 22-31 regarding an ordinance declaring the official results of election held in the city of Oak Grove, Missouri on November 8th, 2022, for the purpose of submitting qualified voters of the city the question of whether to impose a local use tax of out-of-state purchases for the purpose of funding maintenance to repair the city streets at the rate equal to the rate of the local sales tax in effect in the city. This is an ordinance.
I move for first and second reading by title only of Bill Number 22-31.
Second?
We have a motion and a second for the first and second reading of Bill Number 22-31 by title only. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. City Clerk, would you please read the full title of the bill two times?
An ordinance declaring the official results of the election held in the city of Oak Grove, Missouri on November 8th, 2022, for the purpose of submitting to the qualified voters of the city the question of whether to impose a local use tax on out-of-state purchases for the purpose of funding maintenance and repair of the city streets at a rate equal to the rate of the local sales taxes in effect in the city. An ordinance declaring the official results of the election held in the city of Oak Grove, Missouri on November 8th, 2022, for the purpose of submitting to the qualified voters of the city the question of whether to impose a local use tax on out-of-state purchases for the purpose of funding maintenance and repair of the city streets at a rate equal to the rate of the local sales taxes in effect in the city.
I move for adoption of Bill Number 22-31.
We have a motion and a second for the adoption of Bill Number 22-31. Any discussion? If not, City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Jeremy Taylor,
Yes.
Rachel Kilmer,
Yes.
Kelly Netto,
Yes.
Jim Shrout,
Yes.
Tracy Newcomer,
Yes.
Pam Pope.
Yes.
The motion is approved, and the bill becomes ordinance number 2056. Moving on to new business, the first item on new business is discussion, consideration, and possible action for Bill Number 22-32 regarding an ordinance approving the first amended and restated employment agreement between the City of Oak Grove, Missouri and Matthew Randall, and authorizing the mayor to execute the agreement. Once again, an ordinance.
I move for first and second reading by title only of Bill number 22-32.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the first and second reading of the proposed bill number 22-32 by title only. Any discussion?
Yeah, I would just say before we get to the vote, so I think this is great. Matt's been a great addition to the city. I think it's well-deserved, but I just had some issues with the process that the board took to get there, so that's the way I'll vote tonight.
I will make a comment at this time. The board had meeting, we did a review on Matt as a board and came to the conclusion from the review for Matt to have a pay raise. We had never done a review since he had been employed with us, which has been over 3 years. And actually, I'm not sure we've done a review on a city administrator before, but yes, so that is the reason that this has come up at this time. All right, I am at, did you give first? Okay, I don't have a second,
Yes,
right?
you
We have
do.
a motion and a
Who
second. We're waiting
seconded?
for Jim.
Okay. We have a motion and a second for, and I said any discussion, excuse me. If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, I'm sorry.
Opposed?
No?
City Clerk, would you please read the full title of the bill 2 times?
An ordinance approving the first amended and restated employment agreement between the City of Oak Grove, Missouri and Matthew Randall and authorizing the mayor to execute the agreement. An ordinance approving the first amended and restated employment agreement between the City of Oak Grove, Missouri and Matthew Randall and authorizing the mayor to execute the agreement.
Sorry. I move for adoption of Bill number 22-32.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second for the adoption of bill number 22-32. Any discussion? If not, City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Jeremy Taylor,
No?
Rachel Kilmer,
Yes.
Kelly Netto,
Yes.
Jim Shrout,
Yes.
Tracy Newcomer,
Yes.
Pam Pope.
Yes.
Discussion, consideration, and possible action for a bill number 22-33 regarding an ordinance adopting the annual budget for the fiscal year beginning on January 1st, 2023 already, and appropriating funds pursuant thereto. Mr. Randall?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The proposed budget in front of you is unchanged from the budget as it was proposed at last meeting's budget workshop. Just to reiterate some of the main items that were addressed as part of this budget, includes a second detective position within the Oak Grove Police Department, and includes transitioning the part-time animal control officer to a full-time position. Overall, the budget focuses on investing or reinvesting in what we have. The budget includes $850,000 for our street mill and overlay program. The budget includes an asphalt crack sealer to perform preventative maintenance on those streets to improve the longevity of them. The budget also includes pump replacements as well as generators in our water and sewer utilities to ensure continuity of operations. And the budget also includes dollars dedicated to maintaining our parks. It includes replacing the preschool-aged playground equipment at Frick Park, and also includes resurfacing the pool liner, as well as replacing or resurfacing the tennis court play surface. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have on the proposed 2023 budget.
I have a couple questions. Where is the heating and air conditioning unit? You said 1 of 3 in here
Yes, one to replace one of the units that is currently leaking at the Davis Center.
at the Davis Center.
Yes.
And so you think that's in the best interest to only do one at a time? Because they're changing rapidly how they operate, the refrigerant and whatnot, so I just wondered.
Correct. Yeah, you're right. So there is a new standard that will be coming out for a different type of refrigerant. This one unit is currently leaking, and we have to add new Freon, which is the old style, which is quite expensive, so one does need to get replaced. And then we're hoping that we can, in the coming years, replace the other units. There's also a need at the Public Safety Center for that unit to also be looked at in the future.
And I just had one other question, if that's okay. The street improvement fund, it says that we wouldn't begin to use any of it until 2023? From the tax, the new tax?
Correct. So we'll use a portion of the new use tax. I think $50,000 is budgeted for that. Part of that is conservative because we'll already be bidding out and contracting with a company for our mill and overlay program.
2024, it said the other.
Yeah, so unfortunately, the way that the state statute reads for a new tax like this, we won't start collecting the tax till April 1st. Businesses then remit that tax by May, and so we likely won't receive our first remittance until June. And we're hoping to bid out that project in the spring and have a contractor be performing the work late summer, early fall. So we'll only have a few months of collections of the use tax before we're paying out our contractor for that year. So any revenue that's collected above and beyond that in fiscal year 2023 will roll over and be added to the 2024 project. We're setting so people can easily see the revenue that's generated year to year as well as where those expenses go.
And Matt, you'll have a better idea by next year, right? Well, based on 6 months.
Right, yeah, we've estimated that side. 350,000, close, could be more. It's we already know what we're collecting. They have till January 1st of 2020 system up and running. They've already actually done that, so you now taking the time to ensure that the exact actually tax because they have limited resources at the state level, so they're not going through every single city. And you may need to know, but
Yeah, it was good. Do you have any more? No, you're fine. Good questions. Questions?
After the last meeting, you said you are working on a policy for balances? Is that right?
yes,
All right.
yeah. Because the higher interest rates that are available to us through our CDs, we first concentrated on getting an investment policy board, a fund balance policy. Different than capital fund.
For the first and
Second?
We have a motion and a second for the first and second reading of the proposed bill number 22-33 by title only. Any discussion? If motion passes. City Clerk, would you please read the full title of the bill 2 times?
An ordinance adopting an annual budget for the fiscal year beginning on January 1, 2023, and appropriating funds pursuant thereto. An ordinance adopting 23
three.
Second?
Bill number 22-33. Any discussion? If not, City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Jeremy Taylor,
Yes.
Rachel Kilmer,
Yes.
Kelly Netto,
Yes.
Jim Shrout,
Yes.
Tracy Newcomer,
22-33 becomes ordinance number 2058. The next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible action for Bill number 22-34 regarding an ordinance approving the First Amendment to Public Works Supply District Number 17 and the City of Oak Grove Agreement for the provision of water services to certain properties located in the city and authorizing the mayor to execute the agreement. Mr. Randall, you again.
Thank you, Mayor. The City of Oak Grove and the Water District, number 17, initially came to an agreement in January of 2018 for the provision of water services for those territories that are located both within the municipal boundaries of the City of Oak Grove as well as within the territorial boundaries of the Water District. The initial ordinance included areas in Oaks of Edgewood, Edgewood Estates, and Edgewood Farms. The attached ordinance would amend the existing agreement between the City of Oak Grove and Water District 17 to include Edgewood Villas Phase 2, which is about 9 acres and I believe 27 houses. The agreement would allow the City of Oak Grove to provide water services to the subdivision. Separately, the developer for Edgewood Villas Phase 2 and the Water District have reached an agreement allowing the subdivision to be served by the City of Oak Grove. That agreement, while we're not a part of it, is attached in the packet for your reference. That has been executed, and the developer has met what the district wanted for them in order for them to buy out. And so this agreement before the board tonight would allow us to serve that subdivision as an agreement with Water District number 17. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that the board may have. I will also mention that Edgewood Villas Phase 2 has been preliminary platted. That preliminary plat was extended by this board related to water provision, getting this resolved. So the property would still need to be final platted.
Okay.
I move for first and second reading by title only of bill number 2234.
Second?
We have a motion and a second for the first and second reading of the proposed bill number 22-34 by title only. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. City Clerk, would you please read the full title of the bill 2 times?
An ordinance approving the First Amendment to the Public Water Supply District Number 17 and the City of Oak Grove Agreement for the provision of water services to certain properties located in the city and authorizing the mayor to execute the First Amendment. An ordinance approving the First Amendment to Public Water Supply District Number 17 and City of Oak Grove Agreement for the provisions of water services to certain properties located in the city and authorizing the mayor to execute the First Amendment.
Move for adoption of bill number 2234.
Second?
We have a motion and a second for the adoption of bill number 2234. Any discussion? If not, City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Jeremy Taylor?
Yes.
Rachel Kilmer?
Yes.
Kelly Netto?
Yes.
Jim Shrout?
Yes.
Tracy Newcomer?
Yes.
Pam Pope?
Yes.
Motion is approved, and bill number 22-34 becomes ordinance number 2059. The next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding local law enforcement. I think that's supposed to say block, okay. Local law enforcement block grant for the fiscal year 2022. Chief?
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
What has brought this up is the Missouri Department of Public Safety released the funds for 2022 and the local law enforcement block grant, which is a federally funded grant. And so it is trying to expend those funds for the year. This came out as a replacement grant, not a replacement, but a reimbursement grant only, in the sense that you must have bought the approved equipment in the year of 2022, that you may be reimbursed for it. And so looking at what would be approved equipment, we had purchased a new RAP system, which is a restraint system for the officers to use within detention and on the road. And that came to just a little bit over $1,500. So we would just like approval from the mayor and the board as the authorizing agency to submit and, if awarded, receive the funds.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions for Chief?
Is there any cost to submitting for it?
Oh, no. No.
Any other questions?
I make a motion, we approve the police department to, wow,
Submit the grant.
thank you, submit the grant for fiscal year 2022.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to submit the grant of the local law enforcement for 2022. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding the new logo design. Is that you, Mr. Randall?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So yeah, this is just a discussion regarding the use of a new logo. This logo was designed and used as, so the idea would be to utilize the same logo as the comprehensive plan process is winding down, to use that going forward for our business cards, letterheads, envelopes, vehicle decals. But before we make that switch over, I wanted to hear from this board. Before we do that, in your packet, there are examples of as well as we did get one decal on one of our vehicles already to see what it would look like and how the colors would work on a white background, and then some other examples of how that would be used. We also have, which would be used if approved, a technical guide which has the colors to be used across the board so that they would be uniform, as well as fonts to be used. So that way, regardless of where it's used at, it would have a similar design and concept. Our current logo that we use instead of this is the two trees. One is green and one is yellow.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thoughts? Yeah, go ahead.
What
I
are
mean,
we supposed to be doing
Well, so.
right now?
So right now, you can talk about it, you can think about it.
Are
We
you
just
using
used
it?
it during the comprehensive plan.
Yeah,
Well,
so
Well,
we
Yeah,
go and use it throughout. Sure that this board is okay with that decision, and so really would be looking for direction, either to stop using this, to utilize the new logo. I will mention that there won't be really any cost going forward to implement the new logo, because as we use up our order, the only expense that would incur would be if we go back. As new vehicles come in, we could purchase the new ones, but to make the fleet look uniform, we'd go back and purchase and install those decals.
Public Works, is that, I'm trying to
It'd be
think.
Parks and Public Works.
Parks and Public
Police
Works.
Department has their own
Yeah.
logos, so it'd be primarily used on passenger vehicles, as well as some items of our heavy equipment use the decals. And per vehicle with labor and materials is probably about $100.
Yeah, so mainly just, discussion. How do you feel about it? Do you like it? What's your thoughts?
I'm about the colors.
Yeah?
Is the yellow the same shade that the sun is? And the light blue, is it the same shade as like bottom half of the letterhead looks funky because they're not the exact same shades as the logo.
Oh, on the
I
letterhead is
agree.
where you are.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
like that light blue should be the same light blue that's in the sky, and that yellow should be the same color as the sun.
Oh, good
If
point.
that makes sense.
Sure, on the letterhead, yeah, easy
Yeah.
fix, yep.
So then like the technical guide, those colors would just change slightly, would be my OCD preference.
Well, yeah, they need to
absolutely.
stay with the correct Pantone colors
Yeah.
that are listed on the graphic chart, yeah.
I thought you meant the literal sun. I was like, no, I
No,
get
no.
now.
Yeah, the
I
actual
agree.
sun, I want you to
I
replicate
agree
that,
with you, but
yeah.
I was like, what are you talking about? No, that makes more
Yeah.
sense, yeah.
And then, look at it on the truck. It's pretty colorful,
Have we, so you know which one you're using, or
That's what you're gonna
One
talk
on the
about.
truck have the strong roots and bright future on it?
No.
No, see, it just has, if you look at the pictures.
Yeah, so,
Please go.
like, for the vehicles, instead of the strong roots bright future, I mean, unless the board wants it, their thought would be to put the department, or, so the building official would be the only one that would not be department, the other ones would either say Public Works or Parks and Rec below it.
You're saying you may use all three variations of this, right?
Right,
Depending
yeah,
on
That's
so
what
all-
I'm asking, thank you.
Yeah, so all three would be used depending on how it looks. So the Oak Grove that's more stacked, if it was needed to be more condensed, more like a 4x3 instead of a 16x9,
I
right?
see.
You
Bigger
use the
lettering
stacked
be
Oak
on a
Grove.
bigger vehicle, is that what you're thinking?
Right, and yeah, depending on how it looks, we may use one of the three.
Name back. On the truck, it's like, it is very colorful.
Well, it's black and white on the
I know, I'm
name
like,
badge.
maybe, I know, well, maybe that, I think it's the sky and the sun that's bothering me.
Well, yeah, that could be taken off on a vehicle. And
Yeah.
you could just have the Oak Grove with that font. But then you got that funny leaf or whatever that is sticking between the Oak Grove.
So, I mean, on the vehicle decals, we could remove the sun and the sky and just have Oak Grove
Mm-hmm.
with the trees and the bushes on the right.
But then wouldn't that be like, now you have 4 logos,
Yeah,
right? So like,
So,
I
like-
feel like we should just pick like,
right.
Would you like
Not
to,
that many.
would you like to table it and have time to look at it and bring it back the next meeting? So then you have time to just kind of process it and look?
My feelings are not that strong about that, just to be
Okay.
clear. It's just a thought.
Just check, just check.
I would just like to say that if we remove the sky, then we have white letters on a white vehicle.
That's true.
True,
That's true.
yeah.
I think it's great. I'm not, the only thing I care about is the colors.
Flip
Yeah.
a coin.
Flip a coin.
I will say on the vehicle, maybe it's probably hard to tell in the picture, one slight difference we did do is we did outline the Grove, and,
Oh,
and
okay.
because it was fairly
Oh, you
light,
did,
so we
yeah.
did
I see that.
put a darker line around
Yeah.
around Grove, because we figured on a white truck with white letters, it would blend in too much. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there might be cases where we might make some changes like that to better, increase the readability and contrast. But, yeah, I mean, there's no real rush on this. We would, we're just looking to, if we want to utilize this logo moving forward as a brand to help with, continuity. But, yeah, there's no rush.
Because we're ending the comp plan soon, I mean, as far as the process. But if you look back in the history of Oak Grove, I mean, Matt and Kim have said, if you go through the files, the logo has changed. I mean, you probably didn't have time to look at that progression of
Yeah, so
changed over the,
it's actually good. The 2 trees seem to have been established right around the time that the 99 comp plan was done. The 99 comp plan, colors of the comprehensive plan were green and yellow, and that tree was present on that. Prior to that, in 1981, it was more of the diamond, sort of monotone with the tree in the center. So the tree has kind of been a consistent logo, but there has been iterations for, the last 4 or 5
yeah, there
decades.
has, yeah.
I don't love the business cards, like, at all. I think that they look
The logo's too big on there.
elementary, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it takes over, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to table it and think about it and bring it up at the next meeting, if that's, okay.
Would you
Would be my
make a
choice.
motion?
Do we have? to
Wait,
make a
can I
motion?
ask a question
Oh,
really
yeah,
fast?
go ahead.
Is that, might be really stupid, but is that a true representation of an oak tree, or is it just a random generic tree?
Yeah, it would just be a artistic rendering of a tree. I don't think it's
Just a
probably,
good
an
thought. I mean,
arborist
if we're-
probably wouldn't
It's a walnut, isn't it?
necessarily
See,
agree
that's
with
what I'm
what the tree
wondering.
is.
I'm like,
See,
is it a maple? Like,
Is this one an oak, the previous logo right here? Is that an oak?
just food for thought.
I'd say so. yeah.
Okay.
That's a
Just
oak,
checking.
and the yellow one's a yellow tree.
He seems
Yeah,
to know what
yellow
he's talking
tree.
about.
Yeah.
Neon yellow.
At least. Okay, that was my other question. Sorry.
I make a motion that we table this discussion for this evening and bring it back up
First
to
of the
give
year?
the opportunity for the aldermen and women to look over it and think about it and bring it back up at the next meeting.
Okay.
Do you need a second? Oh.
Yeah, I do need a second. Did you second? All right. We have a motion and a second to table the logo conversation and bring it up at the next meeting. All right, Mr. Randall. Any discussion?
Banana tree.
Is that your discussion?
Yes, no,
He's
no
considering a
discussion.
banana tree.
That it could be.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding the rescheduling of the Board of Alderman meetings in 2023 that fall on the city observed holidays. We do this every year. We do it at this time. For you that are new, some holidays fall on a Monday, so then we just automatically roll the meetings over to Tuesday. And the list Kim sent you in an email, and it's on the dais.
I make a motion to approve.
Second?
Have a motion and a second to approve the rescheduling of meetings in 2023 that fall on observed holidays. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is information reports. Matt, do you have one?
No, Mayor, I just want to say thank you to you and the rest of the board for your support, and happy to work here and love our staff and this community. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Chris? No report. Thank you. Mark? Thank you. Chief?
Yes, in regards to the public comments, we have heard from many of the residents along Fifth, and an operation plan was started today, and that it will be worked at any available moment as the weather permits, and we will address it to the best of our ability. And also, tomorrow evening, the 6th, is Shop with a Hero, starting, I believe, at 6 p.m.
Thank you. Sorry, Tom, I was writing something down.
I just want to say that I'll be out of the office starting Wednesday through Monday, so I'll be back next Tuesday.
Is this your Florida
No,
time?
this is Savannah, Georgia, little getaway.
Okay. Kim?
Yes, I just would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone who made the Spirit of Christmas such a great event. It seems like each year it gets just a little bit bigger and more people involved. In fact, we had 80 parade entries this year, so quite a feat. We put the cap at 80 and we hit 80, so there you go. But thank you to all the departments, the Parks Department, Public Works Department, the Police Department, the office staff, the board. Special thanks to someone in red up there. And just appreciate all of the support that we've been given throughout. The Mayor's Christmas tree lighting, I thought was a big success, had a nice crowd. Thank you to the school district for the Oak Grove High School Choir comes and sings, the Middle School Student Council with the poem Night Before Christmas reading. Some of these things are just becoming a tradition for a lot of family members that we've heard from at the event. So that's exciting. Just want to say real quick, the first place parade was Paradise Outfitters, David Alexander. Second place was Sally's Propane. Third place was the Cub Scouts Pack 266. So thank you to everyone who participated and helped. We couldn't do it without the volunteers and the staff and everyone. The next thing I have is the first day for candidate filing is tomorrow morning. And the Christmas luncheon will be Friday, December the 16th, from 12 to 1:30 at the field house. So,
Thank you, Kim.
thank you.
Scott?
Just report that we're having some camera problems with the recording system tonight, so we'll get that looked at. The camera's fading in and out, so if you watch it, it's going to be messed up a little bit.
Okay. Voice, audio is good?
I believe so.
Okay. All right, thank you. Rachel?
I wanted to say thank you to Kim and Vera and everyone else who put on the Christmas event on Saturday. It was amazing. The turnout was incredible. And thank you for the police department being so receptive to the people along Fifth Street. And thank you to Matt and his family for making Oak Grove home and investing in our community the way that you do. We appreciate you.
Ditto.
Kelly? Okay. Are
Ditto.
you sure? You sure you're done?
Yeah.
Okay. Jim?
I have no report.
All right. Jeremy?
Did you say tomorrow night, December 6th?
That's
Just
Shop
shop-
with a Hero, yeah.
Oh, and planning and zoning?
Oh.
Okay, well.
Oh my gosh, does that mean you're not going to be there? You're the
Should-
best rapper.
Should be fairly quick.
Oh,
Okay.
that stinks.
Tracy?
No report.
Pam?
No report.
All right. I'm pretty much the same as Kim. Thank you for the staff, all of staff, police, Sny Valley, volunteers, Public Works, Parks, everyone. But I got to watch firsthand the city staff set everything up, and it's, it's quite amazing, all the hard work that you guys put into it. So the community loved it. It's a great community event. As people ask me, it's the only community event that we actually put on. We're present at a lot of the others, but it's the one big one that we as city put on. So Very well done. I am looking for a motion for executive session.
I make a motion, we adjourn to executive session 610.0219.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn to executive session 610.0219. Any discussion? If not, City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Jeremy Taylor,
Yes.
Rachel Kilmer,
Yes.
Kelly Netto,
Yes.
Jim Shroud,
Yes.
Tracy Newcomer,
Yes.
Pam Pope.
Yes.
We are adjourned to executive session.
Would you like to take the picture?
Yeah, you want to take it now by the tree, or do you want to take it after
Or
the
do you want to
executive
do
session?
executive session?